Well, I want to be mindful of the time. We could talk forever, but I want to thank everyone for this insightful conversation. And as we come to the end of the hour, I'd like to finish this discussion the way it began, with another tour de table. The intention for this podcast is to help each of us become the self-authoring leader of our own lives through meaningful action. Where now it's about action. Enough talking. Let's go into the doing. So let's pass the mic and share any reflection that have emerged from our conversation, or any last thoughts that you feel was left unsaid that you'd like to leave us with. And I'm going to start to give a few, share some of the notes that I've taken, so you have time to collect your thoughts. I really enjoy this conversation and exploring various models, even though there's always pros and cons in putting things in boxes. But I think at the stage of evolution that we're in, it could be more beneficial than negative. So we talked about conscious leadership, systemic relational leadership, inclusive transformational leader, a Sherpa leader, and a servant leader. And I think all these different models needs to be explored. I really enjoyed what you said, Celine, about the true power as where you found your true power through your voice, through activism, which is, I think, when we find our true voice, it provides a sense of power. And then I really relate to what you said, Charles, around power is a current. It's not a currency. And I think that changes the worldview and the way we look at power. So thank you very much from both of you. Charles, you want to share last thoughts, anything that has emerged?
Right. Well, here we come to the solstice and the new year. So this is an opportunity for me and for all of us to adopt some new ways, some new habits. And I wrote down Celine's 3 pathways into new leadership, and I'm going to put those up on the wall. And I think, inviting men in particular to join me in figuring out a way to let go and surrender of those greedy memes of top down, power over, win, lose ideas about our relational capacity, and to reclaim the 4 and 5-year-old, to reclaim the brown bear, to reclaim the stream, all of those natural ecological metaphors of flowing and strength, and find ways to be more inclusive of your own inner parts, my own inner parts, our own inner parts, and to draw that circle of compassion and inclusivity way out beyond the self and into, women, children, people of color, BIPOC folks from around the world, the natural world, the trout, the fir tree, the desert cacti, and see where you land when you draw that circle. How does that change your intentions? How does that change where you want to give your power away so that it flows like a current?
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Beautiful.
And last thoughts for me. Well, I've been extremely happy to join this conversation, not least because it made me dive into a little bit into Charles' thinking, and I'm now extremely curious for his book. I think this work around masculinity, modern masculinity, is amazingly important. It's actually critical. I realize that in my own book, I talk about inequality at some point, and I bring my own experience as a woman in the workplace, and explaining that inequality in the workplace starts much before, when we're kids. And I hadn't thought of the exact parallel thinking that you've developed, Charles, that toxic masculinity starts also very, very early, but it's all easily understandable. And so no, I think it's a super interesting topic, clearly vital, absolutely vital. So and I took note of the man box culture wording that you used. I thought that was really, really cool and really, yeah, again, super important. Another thing, Virginie, you spoke about, you used the word reclaim our voice. I think, yes, absolutely. This is critical. And it does not only apply to the people who've been silenced, it applies to all of us, because sometimes we tend to let our voice be, how can I say, we tend to speak the voice of our organization and believe it's our own, but in fact it's not. We need to see to reclaim this little distance with the system we're in, so that we can better see what part of the system we are reproducing that would deserve to be changed instead. Yeah. And reclaiming our voice as reclaiming our individuality, reclaiming what makes us different from one another. And because these are all assets, we need this diversity of this rich and diverse collectives, rather than having yes men or yes women marching, in line. That's not what organizations need today. This time is gone. So yes to reclaiming our voice, yes to taking ownership of our stories and of sharing our stories. So that's what you do, Virginie, through this podcast. That's Charles, what you do through your book, your other interventions. That's what I started doing 10 years ago through a blog, and now through a book. And so it's all about reclaiming our story, and not to impose it on others, but to be fully present in with the whole of ourselves, to be whole, not just a tiny surface of corporate soldier. That's not what we need.
Exactly. Very well said. And despite the heartbreaks that the world makes you feel when you look at a number of different behaviors or events, it is, I think, a wonderful time to be alive, because there's so much we can change. And I think a lot of people are ready for change. And we need that collective support. We can't change by ourselves, whether it's one individual or a small group. It is essential. So thank you to both of you for the books that are, we'll definitely promote them. And thank you for taking the time to share your thoughts. And soon
thanks a million, Virginie. Thanks a lot. That was awesome.
Thank you very much.
Virginie.